Closing Mastery, the psychology secrets behind the one call close, hosted by yours truly, Alex Schlinsky. Thank you so much for being here with me. I'm very grateful for it. I appreciate the time sincerely. It's the most valuable asset we have, and I'll make sure I deliver for you. My request is that you pay attention for the next 45 minutes to an hour. I make sure that you will leave with 0 questions on sales. Here's my commitment to you. If you watch this training and implement the 4 things, just 4, not hard, just 4 things, I guarantee you will increase your close rate and make significantly more money over the next 3 months than you have ever made before if you implement these 4 things. I promise. I know what I'm talking about. I have enough to back that up, and I'm more than happy to share the insights with you. I'll also make sure that any objections that you deal with, I will make sure that they are handled on this call. Any objections that you struggle with in your business, drop them in the chat. I will make sure I handle every single one. I need to think about it. I need to talk to my partner. I need to move money around. I don't know. It might be too expensive. Whatever objection you get, I'll make sure you know how to handle it on this call. If you're ready to rock and roll, let's dive on in. Let's start with an obvious question. If you want more money, can you drop a Y in the chat? Just Y, just the letter Y. If you want more money, drop a Y. I would expect 53 Ys in the chat. I would expect that. Bunch of Ys. Okay. Why not? Yeah, exactly. Who doesn't want more money? So here's the thing, okay? I'm going to pin this for a second, but I want you to remember that pretty much every single person on this call right now is saying that they want more money. And I'm going to show you what it takes to make more money if you listen carefully on this training, but it's going to be a little bit of a red herring. You'll see what I mean. You'll see what I mean. We're going to get into this here today. All right. Let's talk about why sales is so important. First of all, it's how you make more money. Just like you said, you want to make more money. This is how you make more money, understanding how to sell more efficiently. And I also want you to know that every single thing that you do is sales. Any sort of convincing is sales, not just financial exchanges, right? Convincing your parents to let you go to a rated R movie when you're 15 years old, convincing your fiance's parents to let you marry their daughter. That is also, actually sales. Convincing your kids to not do dumb things is sales. Everything is sales, not just financial exchanges. All right. I also want to note that ChatGPT is not going to be making sales for you anytime soon. ChatGPT is something that's extremely popular right now. Trust me, I love it. I'm really about it. It's very cool. It's super interesting opportunity to learn more from it. But at the end of the day, you're not going to make money from ChatGPT. It's not going to make you like some sort of amazing VSL. It's going to make you thousands of dollars. You have to know how to sell, period, end of story. You also can't just delegate sales. I have a lot of people that tell me, well, Alex, I just plan on delegating sales. You can't delegate sales if you don't have a process for it in the first place. And even if you do plan on delegating sales after watching this, after understanding the process, then you'll understand that sales is the single most valuable asset for entrepreneurs to master. The more that you can flex your sales muscle, the more that you can learn from this, the better you can be. Now, I want to consider something as I start today's training. When I do sales, there's two kind of groups of people. There's people that say, I suck at sales. You know who you are. Then there's people that say, I'm really good at sales. I don't really need to learn anything. I'm going to come listen to this guy because he's not going to know F. That's what people do. Here's what I'm going to ask you to have, okay? An open mind. Just have a beginner's mind. I want you to have a mindset of, I don't know anything. I'm willing to learn anything, and I'm open to all these ideas. Because if you implement these things, it is guaranteed to make you more money, and I'm going to show you how in just a minute, okay? Who am I? Let's just bring that up real quick in case you have no idea who I am. I am the co-founder of a marketing agency mastermind with my boy over here, Brian Downard, called Prospecting on Demand. Thank you, Beyond, for giving us the platform and opportunity to help people at Extendly. We recommend people to use Extendly for high-level support in POD. I've run a PI attorney agency since 2010. I didn't even know about it for the first 4 years, which is always a weird fun fact. If you ever want to talk about that, how I ran a business for 4 years and didn't even know. I've sold well over $17 million worth of marketing products and coaching products and SaaS products, but not nearly as much on SaaS, to be frank. Over the last decade plus, I did have open heart surgery in 2020 to fix a heart birth defect, 0 out of 5 stars. Don't recommend it at all, but good to be alive. I have helped over 1,000 agencies hit 6 figures in profit, hundreds more hit 7 figures as well in profit, because profit is what matters, not revenue. And I love coaching sales. I really do. It's a lot of fun. And I'm really excited to share this insight with you. Here's just proof that it works. I'm really not going to waste time on this. You can just see, whatever X amount of screenshots we shared of people that have implemented the one call close. I only have about 2 billion screenshots to share. That's a little bit hyperbolic, but it's a lot. It works. The method's effective. Just let me show you how to do it. Okay. Here's what we're going to cover: the one call close recap. I'm going to give you the one call close training and sales script for free today. There's only going to be one caveat to it. It's pretty simple. I'm going to ask you to give me your cell phone number, and then my high level robot, with the help of Extendly, is going to send you the slides. That's pretty much it. The only caveat is you have to join my Facebook group. That's pretty much the only thing you have to do to get the slides and to get the one call close training. I'm going to teach you sales psychology. Did anyone go to school for psychology? If you did, can you throw it in the chat? I'm really interested to see. It'd be really cool to know. I'm going to share 4 tips for closing mastery. I'm going to show you how to sell one-to-many and one-to-one. And I'm going to show you how to handle objections live. All right. There's going to be no objection left unturned here. Any objection you have, I'll make sure you're supported and getting exactly what you need. At any point, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat and I'll make sure you're supported and handled, and we'll go from there. Okay. Now, this is going to be the one call close cheat sheet you will see. And this is just a GIF of it. Basically, what this is the entire framework of how to do the one call close. And then there's Loom videos covering each frame. This training alone would take an hour just to go through that. So we're not going to do that today. We're going to be talking about just closing only. So closing meaning we're not going to be talking about at all qualifications or anything of that nature whatsoever. We're strictly going to be talking about closing today. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that I won't help you with the qualification aspect. It just means we're going to be talking about specifically closing today. On every call we do every Thursday at 4 p.m., Brian or myself is hosting. You can get more insight on prospecting, sales, and anything else that you need in between. Okay. So again, you can get this at the end by just giving me your phone number. I think the phone number will come up here in a second, but you can wait until the end. It's no big deal. All right. Let's talk about what it isn't. Okay. What's the one call close? Not. It is not a Harry Potter spell to magically get paid. There is no way to do that. If there was, I probably wouldn't share it, even though I love sharing. I'd probably keep that one to myself. There is no magic Harry Potter spell to get paid. This is also not a detailed script that has to be followed inherently. If you are doing sales and trying to desperately follow a script, you're not being a human being. Being a human being is much better than being a scripted person and trying to follow me. You just need to be you and understand frames. This is also not a manipulative used car salesman approach to sales, right? This is going to be an actual method of helping people to understand what you can do to really deliver a high quality product to them and being confident in delivering that. And then lastly, it's not a method to force a square peg into a round hole. Before I start, I want to make sure this is clear. The things I'm going to teach you today, the psychology hacks to being successful in sales, is the same thing that con artists use to screw good people over. Don't be that person. Please don't watch this training. Don't implement this technique. Don't ever believe that the money that someone else has is more important in your pocket than it is in theirs. That's not appropriate. It's not fair. It's not reasonable. It's not the right thing to do. Do the right thing in sales. That's how you make the most money. It's how you make the most impact. It's the right thing to do. I'm not being sanctimonious by any means or any stretch of the imagination. I have 100% sold square pegs into round holes. Absolutely. And that's wrong. And I shouldn't have done it. And I've learned my lesson from that. And I'm trying to make sure that I teach that today too, because the insights I'm going to give you is going to give you an unfair advantage on how to sell effectively. That's the truth. Why is psychology so important in sales? Well, psychology is the study of how the human mind works and how it functions. And thus, obviously, decision-making is vital to closing. And guess what? Most people suck at decision-making. And so learning how to influence decision-making is really the key to sales success, because the majority of your calls, if you were to look back, probably end with a maybe. Maybe meaning anything other than a yes or a no. Very few calls end in no. Less calls end in yes. Majority of calls end in maybe. And I'm going to show you how to get more yeses and more nos. The use of psychological tools are ultimately going to shortcut your success to get the desired outcomes that you want. That's what we're here for today. Okay. So let's talk about the 80-20 of sales psychology. If anyone doesn't know what the 80-20 principle is, I'll just explain it very quickly. The 80-20 principle is a Pareto principle, the idea of what 20% of effort can I put in that will get me 80% of the results. The reason I say this as we get started really is I'm going to show you only 4 things. The reason why is because I have hundreds of tips and ideas, hundreds. I did a session for a digital marketer, and I don't think I told this to you, Beyond, but I think it's really valuable to understand the genesis of how this training specifically came up. And I used to teach mainly the one call close and go through that whole training. But it's very in-depth, right? I have 4 hours of separate training on the one call close. And after doing a 3rd hour with the digital marketing group, someone said to me, Alex, this is great insight, but what's the 80-20 of it? Like, I can't implement everything you said. What's the few things I can implement that would make a huge difference? And I was amazed by that question. I was so grateful that they asked it, because it became the genesis of identifying, here's just 4 things. Just 4 things every single one of you can do in your sales to immediately improve. And if you want the other 496 things that I have. Come every Thursday at 4 o'clock and I'll share with you more stuff. But this is going to be the 4 most important things, the 4 most important things. All right. It's not in order. It's just all really important. I will share with you the one that's most important, but let's start here with why are you on this call frame. Okay. The why are you on this call frame is absolutely critical. Before you read this slide, I want to explain to you the why you're on this call frame. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second so you can see me and understand what I'm saying. At the beginning of every call, I recommend 2 frames, the time and result frame, and then the why you're on this call frame. Here's the time and result frame, just so we can do it really quick in 3, 2, 1. Hey, Jaden, thanks so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. On the call, I just want to learn a little bit more about your SaaS agency, see what you're trying to accomplish, what struggles you're having, and how I can support you best. We'll chat probably like 35 minutes. Is that good with you? That is a time and a result frame. The reason you do that frame is because we don't want people to tell you the dumb 2 objections. 2 dumb objections. You have 10 minutes left in the call, right? They're like, oh, I only have 10 minutes left, but you have 30 minutes to go. That sucks. That means you didn't frame your time appropriately. Don't let that happen. And then number 2, the most asinine possible objection. But hey, Faye, I had no idea you were going to make me an offer on this call. What does that even mean? How did you not know that? Well, anyways, point being, time result frame, super important. Not nearly as important though as the next frame, which is the why you on this call frame, which looks like this in 3, 2, 1. Hey, Paolo, I'm really appreciative of your time. Like I said, grateful for the opportunity to speak to you today. Look, time is the most valuable asset we have. The time that you're giving me is time that you're not working with your clients or with your team. It's time that you're not with your friends or your family or catching up on Ted Lasso. You're here with me today, right now, with the most valuable asset, and I want to deliver for you. What are you hoping for so I can make this worth your time? What you are doing by framing this way is you are changing the mindset of the prospect to think that the most valuable asset that they have is their credit card. People that come on sales calls believe in their heart that the most valuable thing that Dr. Hughes wants is their money. But the truth is, the most valuable thing that they're giving is the thing they're giving to you for $0, which is their time. Now, when you frame that for them, what it allows you to do is understand why I do not do the 2 call close. It's a very common model to do. We do qualification, then we set up a demo. That's asinine. Doesn't make any sense. It devalues the time that they're giving you. You should be able to sell and qualify in the same call. Now, what ends up happening when you frame this appropriately, this why you're on this call frame, coming back to the slides, the prospect realizes again that time is the most valuable asset they have, not their money, which is extremely valuable. It makes them more willing to pay at the end of the call. And it also shares them 3 important opportunities. The opportunity to share their intention, their desired outcome, and the urgency level. Now, this doesn't work every single time in terms of them sharing each of them, but I'll give you an example. Let me play Paolo in that example when I ask that in 3, 2, 1. Alex, I saw your ad about how you help agencies grow, and I've been struggling for about 6 months or so trying to get past $25,000 a month. I really wanted to see on this call what you do to help agencies grow, because I really would like to get to a result within the next 3 to 6 months. What just happened was this person shared very clearly 90 seconds into the call what the intention is, why they gave me their time, what the desired outcome was, and the urgency level. Now, that doesn't mean it works every time, right? It doesn't mean every single call that you ask the why you're on this call frame that someone answers all of them. They might answer only one. They may say, well, I saw your ad and I thought it was very interesting. They might say, I saw your ad and I'm very inclined to generate more prospects. Or I got your email and I was very interested about the guarantee you had. That doesn't mean they'll always share all 3 of these things, or at worst, they might be like, well, Victor, I just kind of saw it and I was just, I don't know. And they have no idea why they're on the call. And the reality is most people are very unintentional. They know time is valuable, but they're not intentional about the time. And this gives you the opportunity to then push on it by saying 3, 2, 1. Hey, Victor, I respect that, right? Like you got the email from me, you were interested, but at the end of the day, man, like putting this on your calendar, which is a finite amount of time that you have, there has to be some purpose. Like, why did you do it? Are you looking for help? Like, do you want to make more money? Like, are you looking for a service that helps you save time? Like, why really? Why? And you're forcing them to consider at the front end what they're on the call for. And you might have someone realize at that moment, honestly, I don't even know. It's probably not a good use of time. Great. Now you just saved yourself 40 minutes for a prospect that was never going to pay you. Or they force themselves to unconsciously identify what was the intention, which was, I don't know, man, I've been struggling for a bit and I was hoping that you could potentially help. Great. Now you understand the intention, the outcome, and urgency. You have to do this frame. It is easy to do. It is a required frame to do on calls. Every single call that you do, period. Always. And then what this allows you to do is respond with confidence back and priming the purchase for later on. So if someone says to you, I'm on this call because I saw your ad and I want the missed call text back feature that you have because I know I'm leaving a lot of money on the table. I really need this as soon as possible. You get to say, then respond, you're in the exact right spot, Victor. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to make sure you get exactly what you need from this call. I'm very confident working with us at blah, 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 blah is the right fit for you. Let's chat about it. In the first 2 minutes of the conversation, you have clarity on exactly what they're looking for, and you've primed the prospect, seed planted for them, why they should work with you. If this makes sense to y'all, drop a 7 in the chat. And if anyone has any questions at all, please let me know about this. I just want to make sure you're covered and understand this. Does anyone have any questions? Are we good with this? All right, let's keep going. All right, the next one, all right? Next one is simplified selling, one offer focused on a result. This is extremely important, especially for those of you selling SaaS, okay? And there was a lot of you selling SaaS. Let's be clear on this. High level is a cluster F. I'm going to try not to curse today, but you know what I'm trying to say there. There is a billion features. It's hyperbole, but there's too many features to sell on high level. It is critically important that you base your SaaS success on one feature focused on one result. Now, if you think people are buying from you because of the number of features, you're misrepresenting the facts. People are never buying from you because you have multiple features. They're buying from you because of the result that you're going to get them from your product. The features are irrelevant. It's why, in a similar vein, sometimes people will get on a PPC call selling a marketing service and be like, well, this company offered me 10 advertisements and this company offered me 5. That is not an apples and oranges comparison. If the 5 ads we run generate you 50 grand and the 10 ads we run generate you 5 grand, which one do you want? 50. Who cares that they ran 5 more ad sets? The number of features is not relevant. What matters is the result. Now, you need to understand how people make decisions so I can explain this effectively. There's 2 types of decision making, all right? There's explicit decisions and implicit decisions. Explicit decisions are a decision that's made whenever someone consciously combines beliefs and values in order to choose a course of action. Here's an example of an explicit decision. Someone is going to speak at an event. They decide the day of or the day before that they're going to wear this suit, this tie, this slacks, and this belt with this watch because they believe that that looks best to express themselves as the highest quality version. That's an explicit decision. There's also human beings like your boy, Alex Schlinsky, who makes only implicit decisions when it comes to clothing. Here's what I do when it comes to clothing. Whatever is at the top of the drawer is what I'm wearing. Doesn't matter what matches, what the color is, or anything like that, unless my wife bitches at me about it. I'm going to implicitly decide, which is a ritualized habit, to just cope between my options because there's a lot of options. And the thing is, the more options, the harder it is to be successful in sales. The harder it is to decide. So this is why everyone resonates and understands with this mindset. So I'm going to ask you to drop a 1 if you've ever done this. Just drop a 1 if you've ever done this. Hear me out, okay? If you've ever been in a scenario with your partner or friend where you say, hey, what do you want to do for dinner tonight? And they say, I don't know. What do you want to do? Has that ever happened to you? Drop a 1 in the chat. Has that ever happened? I would expect every single person to drop a 1 in the chat. The reason why this constantly happens, very commonly, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second to explain this. The reason this constantly happens is because choices overwhelm people, and most people are bad at decisions. Since we unconsciously, implicitly decide on things every single second of every single day, right? All the time. The amount of stimuli that we have is immense, right? We have literally a computer in our pockets, right? The amount of decisions we have to implicitly and explicitly decide every day is literally thousands. So the idea of having to explicitly decide on what dinner you want to have is so mind-numbingly tiresome that you don't decide. It's easier to defer the decision to someone else. So you're like, oh, what do you want to do? Because most people don't actually care. They just want someone else to decide for them. Here's the craziest version of that, okay? When you're in a group of 10 people, all right, what you end up finding is in a group of 10 people, they'll say, hey guys, what do you want to do for dinner? And because it's more stressful for all 10 people to be like, well, I don't know, like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you do? There's always that exception. That one person's like, let's just go get sushi. 8 of the 10 people hate sushi and they all go get sushi. It's crazy. This is real. You can look this stuff up. This is real scientific proof about decision making because people are more willing to allow someone else to explicitly decide for them than they are willing to explicitly decide for themselves because explicit decision making is significantly more challenging. Implicit decision making is the easiest thing to do. It's just a habit of procrastination, of deferring. And the thing is, most human beings are really bad at decision making. Most. I would contend that the majority of the people on this call are bad at decision making. There's always the exception to the rule. There's always that one person that's the great decision maker. So if you went to like high school or college or like grad school with a group of friends, there might have been that one person that was just constantly deciding for everyone and everyone liked it because no one else wants to make the decisions. We know Brad's going to do it. We know Cheryl's going to do it, right? Exactly, Jacob. You nailed it. You don't want to have to fight about it. You just want to choose, right? Yeah, Portland's pretty great in terms of food, but you get the point, right? This is the idea behind it. So let's come back here and continue what I mean by this, all right? So again, implicit decision-making is whenever someone's relying on a ritualized response, a habit to cope with a decision. That's why I don't, pick my clothes. I just choose whatever it is, all right? So let me ask you guys, have you ever heard any of these? If you have ever heard any of these on your calls, just drop a 2 in the chat. I need to think about it. Can you send me a proposal? I don't make decisions in one call. You ever heard any of these on any of your calls before? I would expect every single one of you to say yes. Now, these are veiled versions of maybe, okay? These are veiled versions of maybe. So pretty much anyone, right? Anyone can say any objection that's not a yes or a no, and it's essentially a maybe. Now, we don't know when someone really means it or when someone is just trying to BS you so they can get off the call, but these are maybes. And most of the time, it's because you're triggering their implicit decision making of procrastination. So here's the thing, okay? When we say that implicit decision making is whenever one relies on a ritualized response to cope with its choice between options, what do we think the most common ritualized response is for decisions? It's deferment. The most common decision is indecision. It's very strange, but it is true. The most common thing that people do when they have a choice between options is procrastinate. And so when you hear these consistently, what's happening is you're triggering your prospect's psychological habit of procrastination. And here's how you stop doing that. Okay. Here's how you stop. I'm going to give you a quick example. Who wants to be who wants to just like be a guest here? I'll go with Rico. Rico Brown. Can you unmute yourself for a sec? Do you mind? All right, Rico, I'm going to ask you a question. All right. There's no wrong answers. Don't stress on it. Rico, do you want a Snickers?
Yes.
How many options did I give you?
1.
How many options did you have to respond, though?
Several.
What are they? What could you have said? Yes, no, or maybe, right? Would you agree with that?
Correct.
Okay, so what I would contend is every single offer you provide, as Rico had just noted, is 3 potential responses. Let's play this game again. Rico, do you want a Snickers or do you want a Twix?
Snickers.
How many options did I give you?
2.
But how many options did you have to respond?
3.
So here's the trick.
6.
It's not 3, it's 6. Because now you have to say yes, no, maybe to Snickers and yes, no, maybe to Twix. And then on top of that, the calculus, the undefined mathematics based off of the compare and contrast game. So this is very important, especially for people selling SaaS, because when you sell, hey, we have this option or this option, you're not offering them yes or no to either one of them. You're offering them 6 potential responses. And on top of that, the compare and contrast game. Furthermore, when you offer 3, you're really offering 9 potential responses. And so what ends up happening is, of course, they are going to be overwhelmed because multiple offers causes overwhelm. It makes them trigger the response of, I need to procrastinate on this decision. What happens when they have multiple options to decide on dinner? They procrastinate. That's what they do. But here's the thing. When someone tells them where they should go to dinner, the chances of them saying yes is much higher. Quick seed plant for you of what we're going to be talking about in just a minute. So here's the thing. When you provide multiple offers, it provides lack of confidence for both parties. What ends up happening is when you offer a multiple offer solution to your prospect, they probably think, Dale, why the F are you asking me this? You're the expert. Tell me what to do. Now, they're probably not going to tell you that, but they're thinking that either consciously or unconsciously. On the second hand, if you don't tell them which one to do, they don't have confidence to decide which one to work on because that's why they're on the call in the first place. How are they supposed to decide? Should I do PPC? Should I do SEO? Should I do gold, platinum package or silver whatever package? How do I know? And so when you don't have confidence, you don't make decisions. When you don't have confidence, you trigger implicit decision-making, which is going to consistently procrastinate. That means all the time you're going to have your prospects give you an objection of maybe. This is how you ultimately get them to buy from you. One offer, one result. Focus on a result, not a feature. So when you focus on all the deliverables of we have this feature and this feature and this feature and this feature, they don't care about the features. So I'm going to give you a quick example of this, all right? Let's do the quick example. I'm not going to put bad juju on anyone, but just letting you know what's going to happen here. Let's say your toilet breaks. Hopefully it doesn't break. Let's say your toilet breaks and you call a plumber to come to your house, okay? The plumber comes to your house and says, I'm going to fix your toilet. Jaden, I'm going to fix your toilet. I can do it in one of three ways. I can use my hand. I can use a snake tool, or I could use a vacuum. What do you want me to use? The most logical response that Jaden or anyone here would have would be like, I don't care. I just want it done as fast as possible, as inexpensive as possible, and I don't want it to break again. Now, that's the same exact thing that happens when you're selling SaaS. They do not give a about what your features are. They don't care. They just want the result as fast as possible, as inexpensive as possible, and they want it to be predictable, meaning they don't want it to break again. And this is relevant for every single type of selling, no matter what you sell, financial or not, by the way, any product, it's the same thing. When you offer multiple things, multiple features, multiple offers, you're going to confuse them. You're going to overwhelm them. You're not going to showcase confidence, and they will not buy from you. I'm telling you this with immense confidence. Please believe this and implement it, okay? All right, coming back here just to wrap up this slide. Overall prospects simply do not buy. It is a proven thing. They just don't buy. So if you're getting majority of your calls ending with a maybe, that means you're triggering your psychological habit of procrastination for your clients. So all you have to do, simplify to one offer and focus on one result. All right. Does anyone have any questions about this? And if you are finding value in this, can you please drop a 7? Just want to make sure you guys get it. By the way, I'm losing major calories on this call right now because I'm giving you everything I have and I'm sweating, but hopefully that makes it more enjoyable for you. All right, let's go. I probably shouldn't have this incredibly bright light in front of my face too, but it's all good. So I told you that I seed planted something for you prior, which is the don't ask, tell closing frame, right? Telling people, not asking. So again, on that dinner metaphor, when someone says, hey, Paulo, what we're going to do is we're going to go to have pizza. Let's have pizza. Paulo might hate pizza, but he's going to go. Because it was decided for him. It's easy. Makes it easy. I'll find something. That's what people say when they don't like the place that they're going to go. Oh, don't worry. I'm lactose intolerant, but I'll find something. Classic move. It's because of the don't ask, tell closing frame. And I'm going to teach you this. Now, I made you a promise, okay? I told you on this call that I would tell you the most important thing. If you do only one thing, just one thing from this training, it's this. When we talk about the 80-20, this is the 99-1. This is the smallest hinge that swings by far the biggest door. There is nothing more important in sales than what I'm about to teach you, by far. If you screw up every other thing that I ever taught you, but you do this effectively, you will be unstoppable, sincerely. Let's talk about some common closing lines, okay? Let me know if you do any of these. If you do any of these, just do 1 for the first one, 2 for the second one, and 3 for the third one. Hey, what's stopping you from getting started today? Hey, Jacob, what do you think? Are you ready to get started? Or my personal favorite, meaning I hate it the most. So Edward, it's $2,500 a month with a one-time setup fee of $750. But if you start today, I'll waive the setup fee and lock you in for 6 months. How's that sound? You ever been in those scenarios, guys? These are terrible closing lines, just terrible. Remember, people don't like making decisions. And so when you ask them a question, you're not showcasing any confidence whatsoever, and you're asking them to make a decision on something that they don't have confidence on. Who has the confidence in the role? Who has it? You have the confidence. So what's your responsibility? Your responsibility is to tell them to work with you, not ask if they want to work with you. And that's what ACT comes into play. Authenticity, confidence, and transparency. If you implement these three things on your sales calls, you'll be unstoppable. Authenticity is the truth behind your words. Confidence is your belief that you are going to get them the result that they want. And transparency is your willingness to share behind the fourth wall as much as necessary to help them feel confident so they don't become skeptical. This is how you, from the heart, tell someone to work with you. Now, I'll role play an example for you, but I want you to consider this. When I role play this, it's not coming from authenticity, confidence, or transparency. It's coming from the ability to be able to deal make on the fly, because I'm not in a one-to-one scenario right now selling a product to any of you. Instead, I'm making it up for you, which is never going to be the same. Now, you might be convinced that I was being actually confident, but that's just a showcase of how powerful this technique is, and will make a massive difference for you in sales if you implement it. And again, that's the key, if you implement it. So here's an example in 3, 2, 1. Look, Kathleen, everything that you shared with me today makes me understand that this is truly a no-brainer for you. I sincerely believe that I can help your practice grow by at least 10 patients every single month with implementing our dream scaling system. Now, I know you've probably heard this before, but most of the time you probably hear someone say, like, what do you think? Do you want to do this? I feel like I would do you a disservice if I didn't straight up tell you, you have to do this. It's the right fit for you. If I was able to fast forward for you 90 days into the future and you saw the results that I was getting for you, you would run through a brick wall, probably metaphorically, by the way, but you'd run through a brick wall to make this happen. It's the right fit, and you need someone confident enough to simply tell you that. I know it's scary. I know it's nerve-wracking. I know you probably haven't made investments like this before, but it's the right thing for you. And the only way to get the result you want is working with us. I really sincerely believe that. That's why we should do this. That's why you should do this, so we can be successful together. That's an example frame. Now, I've done this training, I don't know, 50 times. Every time I do it, it's just a little bit different, because it's not a script. It's just a frame. Whatever is the most authentic, confident, and transparent way you can communicate with someone is how you're going to be successful in sales. Now, people will tell me, and I'm going to stop sharing for a second. They'll be like, oh, but Alex, I don't want to be too aggressive, blah, 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 blah. First of all, that is the dumbest crap I've ever heard. It's just insane. So please don't ever say that. But I want to just talk to the people here that are like, I'm a relationship-based salesperson, so I don't want to do that. Okay, let's just break this down. You're saying you're a relationship-based salesperson, so what you don't want to do is tell them to confidently work with you. How does that make any sense? It makes zero sense. You, as a relationship-based salesperson, has built enough equity, what we call the like, know, and trust factor, the LKT factor, on a sales conversation to actually leverage that at the end of the call to tell them bluntly, this is what we do. This is why you need to do it. You will increase your sales rate significantly if you just do this thing. I've listened to literally hundreds of calls. We audit calls for people in our program, Prospecting on Demand. We listen to them. The calls are absolutely garbage. They're terrible. And then at the end of the call, they're like, Paolo, you got to do this, blah, blah, blah. And they give them the everything. And the prospect doesn't know how to say no because they believe what Paolo is saying. And so they buy. And so even though the rest of the call is garbage, which we can edit and optimize, they still get the close. Please stop withholding yourself from being successful because you're afraid of coming off aggressive. So I'm going to say some pretty aggressive things right now, but I want you to have an open mind of what I'm going to say, okay? I'm guessing everyone in this audience knows who Donald Trump is. I'm not sharing any political leanings or talking about him at all, so just chill for a second. But I want you to hear what I'm going to say open-minded. This is really important, okay? That guy can have a speech that is unedited, okay? We're not doing any like media spin shit. That's not what I'm talking about. An unedited speech. An entire group of people will listen to that speech and say, that is the greatest thing I've ever heard. And then another entire group of people listening to the exact same thing can say, that is cancerous. That's the worst thing I've ever heard. How is that possible? It's the same exact words. How is that possible? And that's because we don't control the perception of how people react to the way we communicate. Some people on this call may be like, I don't know, I don't like Alex. He's aggressive. I don't like him. But I'm not trying to be aggressive. I'm trying to come off confident. If you take it as cocky, there's nothing I could have done about that. It's how you're perceiving it, right? And so ultimately, when you're worried about how you communicate the ACT method, the don't ask but tell method, what you're doing is you're allowing someone else to control your intention. No one else can control your intention. Now, it doesn't mean you can't learn from how someone perceived you. Like I've been on a call and maybe I was too aggressive and I audited it back and I'm like, okay, I could dial that back down a little bit and you learn. No problem. But the idea that you wouldn't even try out of fear that you come off cocky or aggressive, it's the worst possible thing you can do. You really need to come off as confident as you possibly can because you deserve it, because you've earned it, because you believe in your product. And if you don't believe in your product, you should not be selling it, period, end of story. That's it. If you believe in your product makes a difference for someone. You're making a financial exchange of money for a product that's going to make a difference for another human being. Another human being that has their own responsibilities and life struggles and obstacles and things that they're trying to accomplish. And you believe you can help them get closer. You damn better be willing to sell them. That's the job. It's to sell. I do corporate sales consulting, and the majority of the time, they don't sell. Like, what do you think, Victor? What do you think, Johnny? Who fucking cares what they think? You're not on the call to get clarity on what they think. You're on the call to confidently sell them. And that's the job. This is why I'm telling you this is a con artist trick too. People will take this insight and then trick people. Please don't be that person. Do it because you believe it, because you know it's the right thing. This is why I'm successful. This is why the people I coach are successful. This is why you watching this training is going to be successful, because you're going to do it. If you agree with that, drop a 1 in the chat. And if you don't, I'm shocked you're still here. And we can talk about it. I wanted to show this to you as just kind of a piece of proof. This is my boy Hakeem. I love this guy. He worked with us as an appointment setter and prospecting on demand for about 3 months or so. For full transparency, Hakeem could not even book an appointment, let alone close sales deals when he started working with us, just because he's not a very confident person inherently. And he was big on the relationship-based sales thing, and it's too aggressive, blah, 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 blah. And so I was telling him over and over and over about this conviction. And so he sent me this message. It took me the longest time to immerse myself in this, but you speaking so heavily on conviction and confidence on calls has really moved the needle for me. I cash collected $60,000 this week alone, $15,000 pay in fulls on a regular basis. This model works. I promise. I can show you, I could literally be on here for another 3 hours showing you proof after proof after proof, but I'm just going to ask you to believe it. Just believe it and do it. Makes a huge difference. Let's talk about a few transparency tricks, okay? Because a lot of people want to ask me about this. I already did this one, the fast forward to the end of the, oh, sorry. No, I did the third one. If I had a time machine, I'll run through all of these really quick. Fast forward to the end of the call and trust me. I just want to share a quick anecdote. So I was on a sales call probably like 2 months ago for POD, and this guy was on the call. He sells to med spas, PPC services, and a SaaS product. And he's like, man, like I heard you, coach sales. I know you're really good at it. I want to be better at it because it's so frustrating. Like I'm on sales calls and like I'm on the call 20 minutes in and I just know, like, I wish I could just fast forward to the end of the call and they just trust me and pay me because like it's a no-brainer for them. And I'm like, do you feel that often? He's like, all the time. I'm like, what's funny? I feel that way with you right now. Like, I wish we could just fast forward to the end of the call. You joined POD and I could just help coach you, man. And he goes, really? Do you really think that? I'm like, I really do. Like, really? And then he joined POD and he paid $18,000 on the call, which was crazy. And that's never happened before. But I just thought it was really interesting because I've never heard anyone say the fast forward to the end of the call. So I've been coaching this recently. Even if you don't get paid, but you tell someone on call, like, hey, Jacob, have you ever been in a scenario where you're on with like your ideal prospects, right? Like, let's say they do roofing, for example, where you're ever like talking to a roofing prospect and you know that you're the best company to work with them. And you kind of just wish you could fast forward to the end and just start doing the work. So they just trust you and like work with you. You ever been there? Every single time they're going to say, oh my God, it happens all the time. And then you get to say, I'm there with you right now. I wish we could just fast forward to the end and you just work with me. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to get a close right there, but you just did an insane job of seed planting for them and building this unbelievable like, know, and trust factor right on the front end with immense confidence. Just keep that in mind. It's a really unique trick. If you like it, do it. If not, no worries. When you share results, so the second one, when you share results, you have to consider, right? Some people look at this, and this is how just human beings are. And if this is you, it's all good, no worries. Some people look at this and they're like, it's Photoshopped, or this is just one of a million people that said it didn't work, right? That's how people are, okay? They're skeptical inherently. And so what you want to do is whenever you show proof especially a great result, you want to explain to them this: 3, 2, 1. Look, Cheryl, obviously some of the results I'm sharing with you are cherry picked, right? I'm not going to share with you some like bad result. That wouldn't make any sense. I'm sharing the results with clients that have had great success with us. But I want you to consider something, okay? If I was to show you a mediocre result, you would still want to work with me, and I'll explain why, okay? If you put $1 into an ATM machine and you got $10 back out of it, how much money would you put into the ATM machine? Unlimited, Alex. Well, of course, right? Let me ask you this, though. If you put $1 in an ATM machine and it was broken and gave you $2 back every time, how much money would you put into it? An unlimited amount. So here's the thing. When I show you a mediocre result is $1 in, $2 out. We're not celebrating over the moon about it. We're happy that you made money, but we're always trying to strive for these 1 to 10 results. It doesn't happen every time. I'm not telling you that's going to happen, but you will definitely get at least $1 to $2. And that is why I share these results. What you've just done is completely broken any frame or mindset that you're bullshitting them. You've completely broken that. You've built an immense confidence for them now to believe you, and it's very powerful. I did the time machine one already, the run through the brick wall, and then I made that little anecdotal joke. A lot of you had a very wry smile when I made that joke. It's it's automatic. People make a smile when I say, well, metaphorically, of course, right? That type of fourth wall breaking is a pattern interrupt. So like self-deprecating humor, making like odd comments, making a joke about whatever it may be to lower the stress and anxiety of the conversation is really important. So just want to keep that in mind. I like the time machine one. I probably do that on every call I am on, probably. A lot of people will say, Alex, this is the uncomfortable thing for me though. Like this is where I get the most discomfort. Great. Be transparent about that. You're a human being. You're not a robot. So get on a call with someone and tell them, Edward, hey, I just want you to know, like, this is the uncomfortable part for me, but it's important for me to do this in order to support you. Do I have permission to just be blunt in order to help you best? They'll say yes. And now you're not going to be uncomfortable anymore because you just told them that you're uncomfortable and now you're good. They gave you permission. The last thing is just try to avoid at all costs to be totally honest with you. The reason you want to avoid this is the more that you share to be totally honest with you, the less credibility you have. To be totally honest with you is a filler word, right? So you're like, well, to be totally honest with you, blah, 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 blah. What that inherently means, though, logically, is that everything else you said prior to that is undermined because you weren't being totally honest. Now, keep in mind, I struggle with this a lot. It's definitely a filler term that I use. And I've been caught by attorneys multiple times saying like, wait, are you saying that you've been lying to me the whole time? And then I have to say, oh, well, no, it's just kind of a filler word. If you say it in a call, don't wait for them to say something. Just speak up on it. Hey, by the way, I just said to be totally honest with you, which may seemingly undermine everything I just said prior to that, but it's more so like a filler word. I was already being totally honest with you. My bad. Anyways, and they'll be understanding of that because you're a human being. You are not a sales robot. And you have to remember that. You just have to be a human being. That's the goal. All right. And then lastly, let's not settle for the surface why. All right. If you guys are liking this, please let me know here. I'd really like to know if you guys are enjoying this. Please give me a thumbs up or something. I don't know. I just want to make sure this is good for you. Okay. We got one more to do. And then we will answer any objections you guys have. All right. And this is not settling for the surface level why. So earlier we said, do you want more money? And every single person said yes. All of you. Okay. So here's the thing. We're more inclined to make decisions based off fear of loss rather than prospect of gain. So in the idea that every single human being here wants to make more money, the truth is you're much more likely to make a decision when you're fearful of losing out on something than you are of the opportunity of gaining it, right? This is a common copywriting tactic that you'll see all the time. Like it's pretty like rampant in the industry. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm any sort of great marketer or copywriter because I am definitely not. I'm a salesperson at heart. That's what I do. But ultimately understanding decision-making is key because here's the thing, all right? You have to understand the real why. Wanting more money is not enough. So I'm going to give you a quick example of this right now, and I'm going to stop sharing. If you're watching this today, I'm going to ask you to do something for a second. All right. Can you just close your eyes for me for a sec? If you're driving, please don't. If you're not though, just close your eyes for a second. Don't worry. Nothing weird is going to happen. I'm just here to help you. And I want you to visualize this. So just close your eyes for a second. Make sure you're not distracted. I really want you to think about this. Okay. You said you want more money. Why? Okay, so I wonder like what's coming up for some of you. some of you might have a very clear understanding, like, I want this thing to retire my parents. I want this car because of this thing. I'm trying to put a down payment on my home. But the majority of human beings, when they're presented with that question, why, the answer is because. It's just because. And so Dale nailed it here. He said financial freedom. Okay, so what is financial freedom? The thing is, every single person defines what they want with money differently. And so when we just allow our clients to say, I want more patience, I want more roofing jobs, I want more opportunities, I want more deals, I want more closes, I want more money, and we just settle for that as the surface level why, we're not doing any deep work to understand what that money does for them. And they probably have no idea why. So if I speak to an attorney and they say, I want to get 5 more cases a month, and I say, why? Their mindset is, well, because I want more money. I'm like, okay, but why? Like, what does it do? Like, if you want me to be successful with you, I need to understand what's at stake so that you understand the urgency of making this happen, right? And anytime you do that, they're like, I have no idea. I don't know why, because they've never been consulted or confronted with that. Because 99% of salespeople are more than happy to just settle on the surface level why, which is more. Inherently, we live in a capitalist, imperialist society. Success for most people is developed and based off of how much money they have, counting other people's pockets. This is a very common thing in the society that we live in. And so based off of that, everyone wants the acquisition of more. But when you make more, what's the next step? More. So it's a never-ending hunt for more. So then you wonder why you're struggling in sales calls. It's because they're just on a never-ending hunt for more. There's no actual reason or purpose or desire behind it. They just want more. And so exactly, Dale, it's just a rinse and repeat. And so this is why understanding the real why is so key. Why do they want more money? What are they going to do with that money? How will that money change their day-to-day life? Don't be afraid to dig deeper into this. So earlier, Rico, you told me that you want to get more roofing jobs per month. Why? Well, I want more money. Why do you want more money? Like, what is that going to do for you? Oh, I don't know. No one's really asked me. I just kind of want it. Everyone wants more money. Of course, I want more money too, but I want more money so I can pay for my school, college fund for my child before he's 18 years old. I want more money so I can save money to go to Japan and Australia for 2 months. And you just start explaining a couple things that you want, and you're opening their eyes to consider there's zero intention on why they want more money. Most people have no intention on it. I would guess the majority of you here don't have any intention as why you want more money. You just want it because. And it's okay, no problem, but it's not okay in sales. It's not okay in sales. And so here's how I can help you, okay? You have to understand that when people buy, they're buying because of urgency. They have some reason to purchase. Urgency comes from 2 things: clarity on goals and obstacles. Here's the thing. Everyone knows their obstacles. They know why they're not hitting their financial goals. They know that their team's not good enough. The marketing doesn't work. Referrals are drying up. The market is slow. There's a recession. They know all the reasons. People love complaining about problems. Everyone loves it, me included, by the way. So I'm not saying I'm not that one of those people. But people are very rarely clear on what the goal is. The goal is just a moving goalpost. It's just more. And so what you have to do as a salesperson is identify the real why. So here's some niche examples that you might want to consider. Maybe a roofer's real why is that they want to hire another contractor to do the work. So consider it with this role play in 3, 2, 1. So Jaden, you're telling me that you're a roofer that wants to make more money. But the problem is you don't really know why you want more money. And so there's not really a lot of urgency to getting more money. And so what I've found is the roofers that I speak to, a lot of times they're the ones still doing the work on the roofs, even though they've been in the business for 10, 20 years. You struggling with that? Oh my God, Alex, all the time. It's so frustrating. I have to do most of the work. Well, maybe the reason we want more jobs is so you can hire another contractor to do the work. Is that something you want? And what you've just done is you've uncovered a very deep, unconscious desire that they have that they haven't even considered probably for 10, 15, or 20 years, especially if they've been in the business for a long time. And you're opening up a Pandora's box of opportunity that not one other person that they've spoken to has ever offered. You know why? Because every other salesperson settles on the idea that Jaden, as the roofer, just wants more jobs, just wants more roofs. And so when they say that, they're like, cool, I can get you more roofs. And then they start pitching. And they wonder why they don't sell. And it's because more is not actually a goal. This is a real goal. And it works the same for dentists. Maybe they want to hire a new doctor to take care of the patients. Maybe a real estate agent has imposter syndrome and they want to buy a more luxurious home. Maybe an HVAC contractor wants to retire his wife. Maybe a restaurant owner wants to open up a second location to give to his kids. Think about it for your niche. What is the real why? Why do they actually want to make more money? And then use that as leverage and just ask on the upcoming calls. Ask your clients. And you'll be amazed how many people have no effing idea why they want to make more money. And then you get to be the person that helps them understand that. And that's incredibly valuable. And again, builds that like, know, and trust factor, makes it easier for them to buy from you. The other real why is freedom. Also crave more freedom, which is what usually money buys. Time freedom, freedom of choice, travel freedom, freedom to do what they want in their business. How does your product help them achieve more freedom? That's the thing that you want to consider. Having more money equals more freedom, but not in a way that we can use what Dale said, which is I want more money or I want more freedom. It has to be clarified for every single person you speak to. And they will struggle with it the majority of the time. So you speak to them what you believe it could be based off the niche that you know. That's how you can become successful in sales. That's how you don't settle for the service level why. Let's just keep this short. Doing the right thing in sales is really important. Okay. Selling the right way is how you make more money in the long run. Selling the way you want to be sold is the key to your success. You do not sell the product with the highest profitability. If you've ever been coached, oh, just sell the thing that has the highest price tag and then lower the price tag and sell them this, that is garbage sales consulting. That is so bad. It's so unbelievably ridiculous. You would never want to be sold like that. Do not sell like that. Sell the product that will serve the prospect best. You don't need to do any BS like garbage price anchoring. Just be real. Don't sell the highest price product because you end up making more money. Sell the product that best fits the prospect. Do you want to just be like price gouged? If you were on a sales call with me, do you want me to just price you at the highest rate because I make more money from that? No, you want to be sold the thing that's best for you. And that's my job. That's what you're empowering me to do, to sell you the thing that's going to help you the most. And I take that job extremely seriously. And so should all of you, because you've all been on the other end of the screen. And it is your responsibility as a salesperson to sell the right way. This is our job. You have to take it carefully and appropriately. These are human beings that you're talking to. It's critically necessary to understand this. And if you don't, you are not going to be successful in sales no matter how much money you make, period. Okay. Don't fake confidence to sell a product that you know won't work. If you have a skill that you are able to fake confidence and someone cannot deny that of you, don't fake it for products you know won't work. That's crappy. It's the wrong thing to do. Don't be that person. And then lastly, just remember authenticity, confidence, and transparency. I love Ted Lasso. It came back last night, so I added this. Doing the right thing is never the wrong thing. He says that in one of the episodes, the most amazing show. It makes me like want to cry, that show. I love it so much. So just doing the right thing is never the wrong thing. That's the truth. It really is. And you will find that in the long run. Okay. If you want the training of the one call close and the format, just text me 1CC and your name, please. Just your first name or last name to this number. My high level robot will send you the scripts. The only catch is you'll just be added to my Facebook group. That's it. That's the only catch to get the slides. Nothing else, no payment or anything like that is necessary. Okay, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for your time. I'm extremely grateful for it. I made a promise to you all. I know it's 5 o'clock, so if you guys got to run, that's fine, but I have a few more minutes here for you. If there is, don't DM it to me, by the way. Can you just text it to me on this number that you see, 1CC your name and to this number, please. Does anyone have any objections that they struggle with that they want help on? Dale, the number is on the screen. This number right here, 813-519-3922. I'll type it in for you guys, 813-519-3922. Text that number, text 1CC and your name, and you will get access to the material. Okay. Does anyone have any objections that they struggle with that they want help overcoming and how to handle? If you do, just unmute yourself and ask. I'm more than happy
Yes, I have a question, please.
Yeah, hit me. Go ahead.
Okay, so I would like to know, sometimes you have a very, very expensive product and you don't want it to be too expensive for the client. So what I always did is that I had a base product and then I offered options that they can add to the product, to the base product.
Yep.
now, so if the base product would be $3,000, and then the options, if I would add all the options that I think that would be good for them, would be $10,000. There's a huge difference. So, but you're saying you need to offer only one price
Yep.
and not to give options. How do you do it? Like, what's the right thing?
Such a great question, Eli. Thank you. Is your name Eli or Ellie, by the way? My son's name is Ellie.
Ellie.
Oh, nice. My son's name is Ellie. Most people that aren't Jews wouldn't know. So that's my son's name too. Anyways, in terms of the question that you asked, it's a really good question. Like, if I believe the best product is $10,000, but you don't believe that they can afford it, then it's not the best product, right? So what you're saying is counterintuitive. Now, what you're saying, $10,000 is best for them in terms of having the whole package. But if for that specific person, if financially they cannot do that, then it's not the best product for them inherently, right? So for example, if you believe your best product for every client you work with is a $10,000 product where you do everything like SaaS, PPC, SEO, blah, 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 right? But you get on a conversation with them and their budgeting is around $2,000 a month, you already know for a fact that the $10,000 product you have is not the best fit for them. So the way that you would frame it would be based off of how they need a specific service. So what you would say to them is, look, I have higher price packages. And the reality is I could offer you those, but it's not the right fit for you right now, financially where you stand. The thing that I believe would be best for you based on this conversation is to start with me on this package. The reason why is because if you make this amount of money, I'm making up numbers because I don't have them. If you make this amount of sales, you make this amount of money that will allow you to reinvest. So the idea that we're going to do is instead of buying the whole buffet, we're going to buy the appetizer. The appetizer is going to be so great that you're then going to be able to then buy the dinner. Then because of buying the dinner, then you're going to be able to buy the buffet. That's the methodology. That's how it's done effectively. Does that make sense,
Right.
Ellie?
Yes, absolutely.
And really focusing that, like the sequence is a part of what I'm really hearing from you, Alex. Jake Wagner over here.
Yeah, just
You know,
Jake,
sequence is critical. Yeah.
Really quick, with the sequence, you don't tell them the price of the other products. So you're like, look, I have an all-encompassing product, okay? It does everything, SEO, PPC, Facebook ads, blah, 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 blah. Harry Potter owls. We do everything. But the thing is, right now, for where you're at, trying to consider something like that would not even be worthwhile. They're like, oh, what's the price, Jake? Don't even worry about it. It's just not the right fit for you, okay? What we're going to start with is we're going to do PPC first. The PPC service is going to allow you to generate enough prospects to get at least 5 to 10 quality sales opportunities every month. If you sell one deal, you make $5,000 per deal, right? Perfect. My goal is that you sell a few deals in the first 90 days of working together, at least, where you are able to reinvest into additional strategies to really pour gasoline on the fire. But to serve you best, this is the right fit. Even though technically, frankly, I'd make more money if you bought a $20,000 package, hypothetically, that I don't have. Right. Sure, but it's just not the right fit. Even if you told me, and this is the key right here, guys. This is the key. Even if you told me right now, no, I will pay you the $10,000. I'm telling you, it's not the right move to start. I know that I would get paid. More. It's not the right move.
So right tell people the next chess move. You know, this isn't poker, we're chess. You know, like, hey, if I was you and I'm thinking in your position 3 moves down the line, do this, then this, and I'll be here to support you in these ways.
That's exactly correct. So what you'll see very, very often is you'll have people that are selling and then they'll do this post. I've done this too. I'm going to call it sanctimonious, but I've done it. So I'll be upfront of like I had a sales call and I could have sold him if I wanted to, but I didn't because he wasn't the right fit. Right. And they're like posting about that as like it's an angle for why people should work with them. I used to do this before, but it's kind of like ridiculous to do, but it's in action.
Yeah, you got to know.
In action, it's important, right? In action, if you know that you could sell someone, meaning con artist wise, sell them, and you're in your mind on the call, like trying to convince yourself why you should sell them, you already know that it's not the right fit. You already know that you're doing the wrong thing. You already know that you're prioritizing their money in your pocket over their money in their pocket, even though you can make that money. And that's what sales is. It's about doing the right thing. And it's hard sometimes. But Ellie, I wanted to make sure on the follow-up there, was that clear?
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to be clear, because you were given different options, so different services. So let's say if I also build websites, I also do PPC, also do SEO. Yeah. So you're saying don't offer the other packages if I know that they don't have the budget. But with one service,
That's right.
If I'm only building a website, but I can give them an extra option in the website, right? And I know it would be good for them, and I know maybe they would
I
even
would,
need it.
Ellie, I wouldn't make it an option. I would make it a prerequisite, right? So if you're framing it as, hey, I have a website and you can do an add-on of $2,000 for, I don't know, SEO, whatever. I don't know, SEO optimization. You don't say that it's an add-on. You just add it on the call. It's like, hey, so we do website design. It includes SEO optimization, which is what you're going to need. It's a $12,000 investment. It's the right fit for you based on what you need. We should start there. That would be the thing. So even if the product normally is $10,000 plus 2,000, you don't do that because now you're giving them two options. They're going to have to consider it and like they're going to overthink it, etc.
Under no circumstances to give more than one option. Never.
Very rarely, unless they say they force your hand. Like if they're forcing your hand on, hey, like I absolutely want to work with you. I just want to know what else you have to offer. You can explain to them like, look, I know that if I give multiple offers, it causes overwhelm and I would do you a disservice. My job is to tell you what I believe transparently is the best thing for you. This is the best thing for you. This is what we should work together on.
Alex, can I just expand? Can I expand on this topic? Can I expand on this topic for a second? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So how do you manage that? How do you frame that when you have, let's say, 3 packages listed on your website, right? And you're, in the SaaS world, where typically a lot of sales models are where we're posting packages, and we have them for the public to see. So how do you frame those conversations in that way when you have 3 packages up there for them to see?
Yeah, it's really tough. So I really don't like having packages on websites, but I also want to be upfront that I'm not in any way suggesting that I'm the greatest like SaaS expert in the world. Like I'm much more of a like big time believer of like high ticket products. Everyone that I work with, Glenn, is in the ads SaaS model. Ads SaaS, not SaaS. So like everyone I work with, they offer a marketing solution and then they add SaaS to it. So the idea, like the problem with SaaS in general, right? So like huge companies like ActiveCampaign, for example, well, obviously they're going to have the pricing on the website because the market knowledge is there. There's no confusion of the prospect. But when someone, and I'm not trying to be rude, I'm just trying to be frank, right? When someone misconfigures or construes what their business is, they think they're like ActiveCampaign, but they have 5 clients on their SaaS product and they have on their website like this version of what ActiveCampaign looks like. Like here's the pro version, here's the silver and the gold, and then here's the annual price and the monthly price. It's like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? So to me, the easiest thing to do, this is what I would recommend, is I would have the price for the base package. And then the other 2 are inquire for more. That's how I would do it personally.
Interesting. I come from a background of selling software for 30 years. Sure. And, our typical sale was $250,000 and up, at that point. And now, in the SaaS world and still in software, now we do offer some services in addition to just, let's say, high level as a SaaS. I mean, but again, right now the thinking has always been to publish those prices and those packages out there. So it's interesting.
It depends, Glenn. It's very dependent also about the amount of traffic you have, right? Like,
right.
If you have immense amount of traffic, then it's worthwhile. But the reality is most people don't, and so they're trying to be ActiveCampaign when there's nowhere near that, Just a quick note, Hamish, I'm not sure if it's Hamish or Hamish, I apologize, but you asked me like, is there a way to get it? I just dropped the link to my Facebook group in the chat. If you join the group and then just make the note that you want the trainings, then we'll send it to you. Okay. And anyone's welcome to join the group. You're going to get the message if you sent it. Does anyone else need the phone number? If you do, I just stopped sharing my screen. Was there any other questions or objections that anyone had that I can support on? No bad or wrong or dumb questions. I'm here to help you. The only dumb question is not asking. Anyone have anything else?
Sure. I have a question. I'm brand new to Go High Level and
Welcome.
SAT. Yeah. Well, not Go High Level. I've been Go High Level. I've had a subscription for about 6 months for my business. I'm a business coach, and just transitioning at this point. I want to really, my intention, I just signed up for an Agency Pro account. My intention is to dive in and really start offering software as a service, pretty in a significant way in my work, almost full time. So my question is, how, for somebody who is just getting started, I guess it's twofold. what is your sense? I've worked mostly with other coaches. That's been my niche so far. But I'm interested actually in stepping back from my normal niche and kind of having a more broad approach and still doing work for my niche as well. But I live in a small town. There's a lot of local businesses that would really
start there. Yeah. So the way that I would do it is I call this audacity sales. Is anyone going to the June mastermind event for high level? Anyone in here going? I'm the guest speaker at the event, which I'm really excited about, and it's going to be great. I'm going to be talking about audacity sales. So I'll give you a little bit of a quick note. The way that I grew my marketing agency outside of referrals was I used to go. So I lived in Orlando. I went to University of Central Florida. Orlando has the highest per capita number of personal injury attorneys in the United States because of Disney. So it has the most car accidents in the world. I'm going to Disney tomorrow, so hopefully I didn't put any bad juju. Pray for me. But I used to go every weekend. I would go to, or sorry, every Friday, excuse me, I didn't have class. I would go to at least 5 different PI attorneys. There's like literally 100 plus in Orlando area. It's crazy. And I would go in person. And the thing is, Jason, I knew going in person, no one else was going to do that because I have this very unique willingness to hear no more than someone is willing to say it in a collective format. So basically, I knew that if I was going to go to the assistant, they're used to neglecting people on the phone. Way easier to say no on the phone than it is in person. I'm like, I know that Jason is there. I know he's there. No one comes in the office. Give me a chance. I'm a student at University of Central Florida. I'm really trying to make this work. Give me the opportunity. I know he wants to hear this. Sometimes they'd say no. Many times they'd say yes. I made at minimum $50,000 from that on front end sales, not back end sales. Back end sales, well over $1 million. Well over, because I retained my clients for 10 years in the attorney space. So I would do that first. I would go, Jason, in person to all the businesses with one feature. I'd probably go missed call text back. If you don't have a missed call text back calculator, join my Facebook group and I have a calculator, which is like you can show them how much money they're leaving on the table. Hopefully that helps.
Huh. Cool. Yeah. So that's what I was thinking, like a 2-prong approach where I could set up one for my niche and then go local. I do a lot of travel.
Don't do 2 right now. Just go in person, put 2 weeks in local, just get yeses or nos from everyone, and then do the other stuff. Just start. Trying to split your focus is going to make it impossible to succeed.
So just
one feature.
Pricing structure for that? Just one feature. That
probably 300, I would say. Yeah, because the one feature is if you go to a roofing shop and you call them and they don't answer you and they don't have a phone number, like someone texts you back, how much money did they potentially lose if Jason wants a re-roof? Jason's re-roof is $17,000 and he called some other guy who picked up the phone. Any
reason why you wouldn't toss in like Google My Business and reputation management?
Because you're going to confuse them. You could do that after they buy from you. They're like, well, what else do you do? It's like, what the matters what else I do? This is the most important thing. It's going to make you money. You know what I mean?
And how would I find your Facebook group, Alex?
I just dropped it in the chat. If you guys text me on that number, you'll get it. But this is the group, 7-Figure Culture.
And in regards to add to what Alex just said, by not offering additional items that you may provide with the software, when you sign someone up on your lowest tier, let's say just missed call text back, right? They're not going to be overwhelmed at all. That's a very easy to provide product and service, and it doesn't require a lot of input, doesn't require a lot of support from you, and it doesn't confuse them. But when you open up the rest of the high level to them and you say, voila, here's everything we can do, well, now they're overwhelmed. To be honest, as marketers, you and I are probably feeling overwhelmed as high level releases new features. Like, wow, there's so much we can do, right? Where do we start? And I felt that when I first got started with it. But if you lead them in by just falling in love with a missed call text back, and then 3 months, 4 months down the road, you can introduce another feature. Right now, you can choose to upcharge them or include it in however you want to structure that. Right now they are liking their businesses depending on it. They have more potential to deal with the overwhelm rather than just be right out the door as soon as they see the entire platform.
So real quick, everyone, thank you all so much for coming. I can do a couple more questions. Keep this in mind. Every single Thursday, Brian and I are on here every Thursday at 4:00 Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on this link. You can come anytime and ask any questions you want. That is a provided service by Extendly. We're here to help you and want to support you. So we're happy to do that. I believe it is Clay Lay. I have no idea if I said that right, but I tried.
Yes, you did try.
Oh,
Congratulations.
I tried. Oh, dang. I celebrated too early. So anyways,
Hey, listen, at least you tried. Well,
what's your question?
thank you so much, Alex. I don't know if you can get into this on the call, but I launched my agency about 60 days ago. And I'm selling 3 different products, 3 different programs. The highest is a $497. But I was wondering, because I know you said that your focus is really on high ticket ads and SaaS. What's a really good framework that you have seen that has been successful across the board? Just because I'm now transitioning to moving myself out of the lower ticket and starting to sell the higher ticket.
Okay, so the best framework is the one called Close framework. So that training that I'm offering in my Facebook group, 100% free, just text this number and it will give you a document that has Loom videos that break down the entire framework, and then come back every Thursday and I'll just keep coaching you on it.
Got it. Thank you.
My pleasure. No worries. We have iPhone with a question. iPhone, ask me your question. You're muted, iPhone, and I don't know your name because
is that me?
That's you.
Oh, okay. I thought I changed my name. All right. Hey, Alex, how you doing?
Hi, iPhone.
Sorry, I have to change my name over here. I'm not sure. It's on it's on the actual iPhone. I'm actually the one that joined the video call right before the Extendly one. And I have a question what CSM is. All right. So I have a question regarding the auto text back. I mean, only if you have an answer for that. I know you went deep dive with Sean with it in the past. I did watch that video as well.
Cool.
I am a little bit I did a lot of research in the auto text back, and what I saw what a big problem is that people still want to keep their business phone number, because
I can't answer any tech questions for you. That's totally Extendly. I am the least tech special guy in the world. I don't know anything about tech. I wish I could help.
What was the question? I'll try to attempt to
basically, what I had was a lot of people didn't want to actually switch their number. They want to actually keep their business number, but you can't really provide them with auto text back if you're going to keep the number, correct?
Yeah. So you can't. But so what do you do in that case is you take the number that the CRM provides you, your high level provides you, right? Put it on their website, their GMB, Yelp, wherever all the online stuff is, and then you forward that number to their existing business. So that way, all new calls that are coming in from existing customers may still call the number that they've had, but anyone new that will be routed through the software, and they'll get the missed call text back. And plus, it'll create them as a contact inside the software, so you can say, hey, look, this is how many new people called you, and this is how many people we sent a missed call text back to because you missed their call.
Okay. I definitely do appreciate that. Okay.
And I just want to clarify, by the way, that I DM that whole thing to Beyond. So I just want credit that I was the one that came up with all that. I just want to make sure that's clear. My ego needs it. I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking. Okay. We had, is it Zaid? I'm going to go with Zaid. Final answer.
It's Zaid. But
damn
it's
it.
all right. It's okay.
Go ahead.
So I'm basically, I originally started off with the SMMA, or you would say like the marketing agency, Sense, and we provided Google Ads and SEO for contractors. And now we're switching over to the SaaS part of it. I just wanted to get your opinion on whether this should be done or not. So basically with the SaaS model that we're trying to do is we're not wanting to take away the marketing sense, so the marketing agency side completely. And I don't know if it would be a good idea to add possibly like a marketplace in the software and basically upsell them on the marketing services.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are using UpHex right now. Like, it's very common to see that. It's like proliferated the agency space pretty intently. Like I said, in my program, POD, Prospecting on Demand, majority of our clients offer like a marketing service. So PPC, SEO, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, any of those products, and then add on the SaaS product for stickiness, so that if they cancel the main product, they They have the SaaS product on the back end.
Okay.
In terms of like, would I put it in the marketplace? Yeah, I don't see any reason why. I mean, if they could dig around and be like, what the heck is this thing, Zaid? Like, oh, like we could talk about it. Let's have a call. Like, I would be fine with that. I don't think there's any problem with that.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask one more thing?
Yeah, of course. Real quick before we do it, because I know people have to leave here. Just a
Yeah,
quick. For those of
understand.
you, no, you're good. For those of you that are interested in joining us at our event in Detroit that Beyond is sponsoring, just so you have clarity on it, it will be May 18th, 19th, and 20th. We're looking for probably like 10 people or total. I did promise that there would be a way to win a ticket. So what I wanted to do was I just wanted to write down, does anyone know what all 4 of the tips I shared was today? If you do and want to win a ticket to the event, drop it below. That being said, if you want to buy a ticket, it's $397 for VIP dinner and the event, which will be on the 18th and then the 19th and 20th. The event is going to be in Detroit at the Little Caesars Arena where the Detroit Pistons and Red Wings play, which is going to be a lot of fun. And Beyond and Extendly are sponsors of the event, which we're super grateful for. It'll be about agency scaling and SaaS scaling. So really, really excited about it. It's going to be a ton of fun. All right, Zaid, what was your other question for me?
Sorry, yeah. Starting out, we're actually like deciding to launch next week. So basically take care of all the configurations and whatnot. But it kind of made me second guess with what I heard today, with what you said. So I understand that you said that probably offering them one service would be the best option.
Yes.
Like I said, we're probably going more the standard route, and we have 3. But each one of them focus on one service actually. So the standard plan is focusing on the SMS messages and like the text back, and the second one has a social planner, and then the third one has the reputation management. So I don't know if it's okay still to price it and model it that way and still focus on one service, or should I compile them all together and just maybe offer one pricing? I don't really know. Get your take on it.
Just for clarity, you're saying that on a call, you would say, we can do this feature for this price, this feature for this price. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So basically,
don't do that. Don't do that. You want to get clarity on what they want as the result. What's the fastest method to get there? So I use this as a frame really easily. So this is one called closed frames, but I'll just share it with you really quick. Everyone has to look at me to understand this concept. I'll spotlight myself so I can make it easy, so you can understand this. The 4 W's is the framing of what I do for qualification. So the 4 W's are, where are you now? Where do you want to be? What's the obstacle holding you back? Right? And then how fast do you want to get over it? Urgency, right? And so when you identify that you know where they are and where they want to go, and you know why they're not there yet, your job, Zaid, on the call is to identify what is the thing that will help them get the result fastest. And so some people might want to take a scooter, some people might want to take a car, some people might want to fly. It's like we just have to know what's the best method to get them there as fast as possible to the best of your knowledge. That's how you can confidently tell them what to do. If they ask about features thereafter, then you can get into it. Like when people ask me about additional stuff, I'd be like, look, the reason I shared this specific thing is to avoid overwhelm and get you the best result possible. Let's just focus on this for a second. Is this what you want to get this result? Yes. Okay, great. Let's start with that. And I'm more than happy to talk to you about the other features. And that's how I'd do it.
Okay. But just for like kind of clarification of my point, I'm basically adding on to every plan, if that makes sense. So starting off with the reputation, the SMS, and then I'm adding on to the features they already have, and then the social plan, and then I'm adding on to the reputation management. So it's not individual features for each plan, if that makes sense.
It's after the fact, like after they purchased?
Yeah, so no. So it's, the 3 basic plans, right? And then you start off with the first one, you have the SMS. And then the second one, you're adding on a social planner with the SMS. And then the third one, you're adding all 3. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I need to see like the slide to make sure I understand exactly what you're saying, because I don't think I'm getting it, to be honest.
Okay.
If you want to message it to me on what's it called, Facebook Messenger, then I can send you a Loom video inside of this replay so anyone can watch it on Facebook and see the response. Okay.
Perfect. Yep.
Someone asked me for the ticket link, so I dropped it below. It's just a Sam Cart link. It doesn't explain much about the event, just so you know. There was one more person that had a question. I think it was Jaden. Jaden hit me, and then we were good to go. You're muted. Or I can't hear you. You're not muted. It might be your mic that is not on. I'm eagerly awaiting this question now. Now I'm eager. If you can't speak, if we can't hear you. So if you want to type it, that's all good. Or unplug your mic. Does anyone have any other? Oh, there we go. We got you, Jaden. What's up?
Awesome. So this is a rather simple question, but in your slides, you had mentioned clients tend to get a bit of an anxiety when they're brought with two different options. So I am in the software space or the SaaS space. Would it be, I guess you could say, optimal just to have one plan that's direct and just includes everything that they need, or should I throw in another one?
Say it again so I understand. Sorry.
So instead of, I have just one plan right now. Should I add on another, or should I just, okay.
No, just be good with your one plan. And then if you identify that your prospects need something else as you're doing calls, then you can add something.
Okay. And then I assume you would also recommend throwing in a bump in the future just for like a VA or whatever else they may need.
What do you mean like a bump, like an order bump on your sales page? Yeah, I mean, you can do that. That's more like a VSL sales model than it is really like a one-to-one sales model. So that's like, it's more like marketing copy sales, which is not really my skill, to be honest.
Okay. That was all I had. Thank you.
Cool. Is there any other objections before we go? Any objections that you deal with in your sales calls that you need help with before we rock? Wow, we did an hour and a half. Holy crap. That's crazy. Okie dokie. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Beyond, and the Extendly team for the opportunity and time doing this stuff. Oh, was there someone that had a question, or were you just saying thank you?
Just saying good stuff. Thank you, sir.
Oh, yeah. No, my pleasure. Absolutely. Just last chance to send me this text so you get the insight. Everyone have a lovely rest of your week. Remember, do the right thing in sales. Keep it simple. Tell, don't ask. That's the main thing I want to make sure you take away from this. Lots of love, and I hope to see you next Thursday. 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Have a wonderful rest of your week, my friends.
Alex, I just want to say, super impressed. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was so awesome, Alex. Thank you.
Glad you enjoyed.